Very good morning, everyone, and welcome back once again to StudyIQ English. My name is Praveen Mishra, and we are going to start the Hindu analysis for the date that is 9th of April 2025. Right? So, starting with the first news for the first headline, that is Supreme Court has slammed actually the Tamil Nadu governor, that is Mr. R.N. Ravi, for not giving the timely assent with regard to the state legislative bills, right? So, this is not the new tussle. This is a news that we are watching today. Okay, we are watching today as well, not only today. The tussle between the state legislative assembly and the governor, that is the governor named D.N. Ravi, and the Tamil Nadu state, is very old, around a year old, what we can simply say. It's not the first time this is happening, right? And yes, the governor's assent to the bill, that is what is the constitutional paradox here with regard to the Supreme Court's judgment as well as the statements, the provisions mentioned inside the Constitution, right? So as we can see with the news, what is written here, the Supreme Court on Tuesday slammed Tamil Nadu Governor Mr. R.N. Ravi's conduct as unconstitutional, criticizing him of not providing the timely, that is, on-time assent to the bill. But the question here is, does the Constitution provides any sort of bar over the governor to provide the assent to the bill? Okay. Do we have any such provision mentioned inside Constitution? The fact here is no. Okay. But here, Supreme Court taking the judicial review as well as activism towards a step ahead or upgrading its authority has now slammed the governor. Right. So what is the news here? Okay, as you can see, the top court deemed the 10 bills to have received assent, declaring the actions of the President Draupadi Murmu, who assented to only one of the bills, and rejecting 7 and not considering 2 others to be void. And apart from that, it also fixed time limits of one of the 3 months for governors to take action on future bills. So, a new thing to be added into the Indian polity now. And what is this new thing? Now, the Supreme Court has given the clear-cut guidelines, the clear-cut instructions that from the date of passage of bills, okay, it should be 3 months for the governor to take action on the bill, whether to provide the assent or whether to send the bill back to the Legislative Assembly for the sake of reconsideration. As we know, the governors, along with the president, they do not have the absolute veto. The president do not have the absolute veto in context of the Union Parliament, and so does the governor doesn't have it in context of the legislative assemblies. Though the president possesses it for the sake of the legislative assemblies of the states, but yes, not for parliament. And yes, once again, governors, they, whosoever the governor is, whatsoever the state is, do not have the authority to reject the bill passed by the Legislative Assembly. This is what the clear-cut factors they are. Okay. And as we can move forward, okay, with the same news, 1 month, okay, in case the president has sent the bill after the assent, and now it will be 1 month time for the governor to provide the legal status to it. Okay. But with regard to the pocket veto, okay, now the concern is here with regard to the pocket veto of the governor. Under Article 200, the governors of the state, okay, they have to exercise indistinct powers. Like, for example, the suspensive veto, the pocket veto, and yes, the transferable veto. So under Article 200, the governors, they can have the transferable veto as in to transfer the legislative bill to the president's assent, for the president's assent. The another one comes in the absolute veto, the pocket veto as in just holding the bill, neither transferring it to the president, neither providing the assent to the bill. Okay. And third one comes the suspensive veto, that is returning the bill for the reconsideration of the assembly, but just once, right? But for the sake of pocket veto, till today, okay, there was no such provision of time limit. Okay, no such provision of time limit mentioned inside the Constitution. But here, Supreme Court has now came forward with the time fragments as well, with the time segments as well. And what are the time segments? It should be not more than 3 months of the pocket veto that should be exercised by the governors of the states while providing the assent or while using their veto for the sake of the bills passed by the state legislative assemblies. Okay, so here we have Supreme Court sets time frame for governors, saying the phrase as soon as possible permeates Article 200 with a sense of expediency. And here, a governor has maximum of 1 month to withhold the assent on the aid and advice of the state cabinet. A maximum of 3 months is given to return the bill with a message specifying the reasons if the governor withholds assent contrary to the cabinet's advice. Then the governor has 3 months to reserve a bill for the president's consideration going against the advice of the state cabinet. And the governor must grant assent to a bill repassed by the state legislature under Article 200 within a maximum of 1 month. So if the bill is repassed, that is when the governor has used his or her suspensive veto and the bill has been sent back to the governor's assent once again, then in that case, governor has got 30 days of the time. If the governor wants to send the bill for the assent of the president, that is use the transferable veto, then also in that case, governor has got 3 months of the time. And apart from that, once again, right, if the bill, okay, it is sent back to the governor now by the president, okay, then once again, it should be not exceeding 1 month, right? So this is what Article 200 is. This is what the Supreme Court's judgment they are. Okay. So Article 200 till yesterday, that is if we talk about the date, 8th of April, right? It was having no specific time frame for the governors to have any sort of, passage of the bills in the minimum to maximum time period. No, nothing like that. Okay, but yes, from today, that is date being 9th of April 2025, from today, the governors, they are given a time period, a time frame. That is, your bill shall be passed within 1 month in case of the means bill coming back again after reconsideration, and in general conditions it should be 3 months, that is 90 days, right? So this is what the whole news is. And yes, this is where somewhere the state of Tamil Nadu, the government of Tamil Nadu is in the mode of triumph, right? So it is the historic event for not just the state of Tamil Nadu, first of all, for all of the states, those who suffer from the same problem. So the M.K. Stalin government or the Tamil Nadu government, they have now just stated that yes, it is the historic Supreme Court verdict and it is a victory for all state governments. It's not just Tamil Nadu government, it is the victory for all state governments, those who face at most amount of delays when it comes to the passage or the assent of the bills, right? So this is what M.K. Stalin has mentioned, and he has mentioned here with this particular news, he has mentioned a particular committee. What is the name of the committee? The name of the committee is Raj Mannar Committee. Okay, so as we can go ahead and discuss Raj Mannar Committee. It was constituted in the year 1969 under the chairmanship of the then Chief Justice, okay, that is P.V. Raj Mannar of the Madras High Court, okay. And why it was constituted? It was constituted to go ahead and look after the demands of the states when it comes to provide them with some extra amount of autonomy or leniency, with some extra amount, okay. So it was the government of Tamil Nadu who established the Raj Mannar Committee. Guys, be very specific, okay. It was government of Tamil Nadu. It was not the union government. It was government of Tamil Nadu who established the Raj Mannar Committee, which provided the report in the year 1971, established in 1969. It was not the union government, okay. For the sake of what? To look after the demands of the state governments, to have flexibility, okay, in their functioning, to have flexibility in their machineries, okay, that is having more of the leniencies, okay, and less of the centrals or the union's interference into the state. Okay, so for this purpose in 1969, under the chairmanship or under the leadership or the presidency of the then Madras High Court Chief Justice, his name was P.V. Raj Mannar. Okay, so he led the committee and submitted the report, Right. So what were the recommendations of the committee? What they actually tried to represent? Okay. So the first thing what they recommended is establish an interstate council to address center-state relations. Second, widen the base of revenue devolution to the states. Third, make all excise duties and cesses compulsorily divisible between the union and the states. Then some subjects must be transferred from union list to the state list, that is in the 7th schedule under article 246. Okay, for example, mineral oil resources, okay, that is the excavation of the minerals from the earth. Okay, then it strongly favored autonomy for the states and recommended unburdening the center in many areas of responsibility and advocated state autonomy. There was another organization as well. We consider it as, we call it as the Administrative Reforms Commission. Okay, now this Administrative Reforms Commission, when we talk about, this is something very interesting. Okay, Administrative Reforms Commission provided autonomy to center. Okay, provided more autonomy to center, whereas the Rajmannar committee, it provided more autonomy to states. Okay, so this is what the difference is. Autonomy to states, that will be Rajmannar. Autonomy to center, that will be Administrative Reforms Commission. Okay, so here we have the next news, the next headline for the day. What is this all about? Another question mark on our social fabric. Another, what we can say, disturbance to our society. Another point of poignance and grief from the perspective of leadership. A leader, regardless from whatsoever party, it doesn't matter, though the news is from one single party, but let's be on very neutral grounds. Let's follow the principles of neutrality. You are from BJP, you're from Aam Aadmi, you're from Congress, you're from Trinamool Congress, or the RJD, or the TDP, DMK, AIDMK, SP, BSP, whatsoever, doesn't matter. You are a national figure. You are a public representative. And then you cannot perform in such unethical manner, right? This is what is happening. So BJP leader, okay, BJP leader who is the former MLA as well from the Alwar region, performed a task, that is task of purifying a temple. Okay, but for what? Because a day before this purification thing happened, a day before that, another person entered the temple, and this person was from the Dalit background. Okay. Though the fact is he tried, okay, this person here, he tried to represent it as a political tussle between Congress and BJP. But ultimately he represented the orthodox and still the stereotype mindset he is having. Okay. So what he did, a Dalit person entered the temple premises, and then very next day he tried, to purify the temple using Ganga Jal. These are the people who are not defaming their party line only. These are the people, those who are defaming their own society, our own society, society of India, not society of Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, Buddha, Jain, etc. No, society of India. These are the people, see, they are former legislators, still a public figure, public representative, still, right? And they are performing such things. It is disturbing two things. Firstly, the social fabric, okay, the fraternity and harmony concept of our country. And secondly, it is also maligning or defaming India's image at the global stages. We are trying to represent ourselves as Vishwa Guru or Vishwa Mitra even. See what's happening. Don't you have bit of the information of Article 17 from the Indian Constitution that talks about the abolition of untouchability from every single form? Secondly, There is an act that is in action since more than 7.5 or 8 decades, what you can simply say, the Civil Liberties Act of 1955, that makes any action of untouchability as an illegal act, as an act that is against the principles of the Constitution, right? And here we have the leaders, what they are representing. They neither have any information or any insights over the Article 17 of the Indian Constitution. Regardless of the Constitution, let's talk about the acts that are passed by the Parliament. That is Civil Liberties Act of 1955. They do not have even the very same information. And this is the question to not just one single individual. This is the question to all of us. To all of us, literally. Whether we are general, whether we are Dalit, whether we are tribes, whether we are backward classes, handicapped, weaker section, whatsoever. Okay, regardless of the quota or the community I belong to. Is it justified? Why am I using the word, means like for me, even using a word Dalit for anyone, I don't think it's right. Why am I classifying a community? Why? Mentioning someone as a general itself is wrong. We should all be community, one community, that is general. Okay, class division, that's fine. That's another thing. Not fine, okay, that's another thing. Caste division is also, means like, okay, somewhere around the corner through the edges justified. Justified, not even, good enough. But why there is a discrimination among the classes and the castes? Okay, when we are following the principles of the Constitution. And okay, if these things comes from a general mass, a general public, a common man, then okay, unavailability of resources or unawareness, uneducation, illiteracy makes a person to go ahead and perform the all stereotype and orthodox mentalities and the principle and the actions. Okay, but how we are going to justify such sort of actions from a leader, right? This is grave, egregious. This is absolutely the callous behavior. You shouldn't have done that. You are the stalwarts of the democracy. You consider yourself, but yes, what's your action? It's unbearable, totally, right? You know, the action of purifying the temple is not new. You will be surprised as well as shocked. The former president of India, one of the finest presidents the nation has even got. His name is, when we say the name, Ramnath Kovind, right? One of the finest presidents the nation has had. Okay, so before Draupadi Murmu ma'am, the president of India, he was Ramnath Kovind sir, right? He, along with his wife, see, the president of India, how much badly reservation still is needed. Like there are people, right, who raise voices against reservation. That yes, I also say reservation is many of the times it is misused. Yes, it is. But still, it is not like that reservation is not needed. Still, it is needed today. And how? The answer is here. In 2022, probably, 2022, first 6 months of 2022, our erstwhile president, the former president, he visited along with his family to the Siddhivinayak temple. Okay, that's fine. You know what the temple authorities they did? Next day, they purified the temple. They had no single logic there that it was the president of India who came to the temple. No, it was a Dalit person who came to the temple, right? How can you even have this, right? How can you even state this? Okay, but this has happened, right? And so yesterday, a day before yesterday actually, a person from the Dalit background, okay, who was also the leader of a party, entered the temple, and this guy, he started purifying the temple using Ganga Jal, right? You are misusing the piousness of Ganga Jal here, right? When you are dividing the society, specifically being a representative of the society, when you are dividing the society. Okay, so Article 17 and the Civil Liberties Act, and apart from that, yes, the ethical conduct of the public representatives, the public servants, whatsoever, the government officials or the party officials, whatsoever, okay, is in question here, right? So, guys, please do let me know your opinion as well. What's your point of view? How much justification do we have over such type of acts, right? So, moving to the next headline, the next news for the day, the dancing jumbos, right? Another wonderful festival from our south, from our God's own country once again, Kerala, right? So you can see there are jumbos as in the elephants, those who have been decorated, okay, those who have been ornamented, basically, the exact word should be. And what is this festival all about? This festival, it is termed as Arathupuzzapuram. Okay, I might pronounce it wrong maybe as according to the local language, but simply here it is Arathupuzzapuram. Okay, so where is this festival all about and what's the features we need to understand? So Arathupuzzapuram, it is the oldest temple festival in Kerala. Well, it is the oldest temple festival in country of India. Not only the state of Kerala, but throughout the country of India, the oldest temple festival is what? The Arathupuzza Puram. Okay, it is held when? Held annually. Where? At Sri Sastha Temple. Here it is. Okay, Sri Sastha Temple in Arathupuzza. Okay, this is what? The Thrissur district. Now, spanning 7 days each year. Okay, it goes through a cycle of 7 days. Okay, that is a week totally, and held in the month of March to April. Okay, the grand festival is a spectacle of devotion, culture, and community spirit, known as the mother of all Purams. Okay, what is that? Arathupuzza Puram. Okay, it stands out for its unique tradition of bringing together deities from various temples, creating a divine conclave that attracts thousands of visitors. Right? So, this is what? Arathupuzza Puram. Right? Next, the Sri Sastha Temple. Okay, the Sri Sastha Temple, believed to be over 3,000 years old. And apart from that, it became the focal point of this vibrant celebration dedicated to Lord Ayappa. Right? So, dedicated to Lord Ayappa. 3,000 years old temple, 3,000 years old festival, Arathupuzza Puram, mother of all Purams, where Thrissur district of the God's own country, that is Kerala. Right? Okay, dedicated to Lord Ayappa. Okay, simply that's it. Okay. So here we have the next news, the next headline. Mr. Prime Minister has stated that through the Mudra scheme, rupees 52 crore loans have been sanctioned so far. How much? 52 crores. Okay, under which scheme? Under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra scheme. So what's the statement here? Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacting with the beneficiaries on Tuesday on 10th anniversary of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana said the scheme has turned several dreams into reality, empowering people who were previously overlooked with financial support to shine. Okay, so it illustrates that for the people of India, nothing is impossible, right? If we do provide the adequate support, adequate facilities to our countrymen, to our people, then yes, nothing is impossible for all of us. Okay, so here we have about the Mudra Yojana. Okay, so Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, that is in short PMMY. Okay, it is a flagship initiative of the Government of India launched in the year 2015. What is the single point aim or the agenda? To provide credit facilities to MSMEs, that is micro and small enterprises. Focusing where? Focusing on integrating undeserved enterprises, okay, into the formal financial system by offering them easy access to credit. Okay, from small shop owners, business owners, okay, to a cottage industry owner, whatsoever. Those who were kept away from the small financing, okay, with regard to the n number of the protocols and the hierarchies as well as the red tapeism. The Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana has came forward with the rescue, okay, to provide the adequate credit and financing facilities to the business owners, specifically to the business that is considered as micro and small along with medium. Right, so this is what the basic ultimate feature of the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. But we have got some other factors as well. The objective, it is designed to fund the unfunded, okay, enabling small borrowers to secure loans from various financial institutions, including public sector banks. Okay, so which are the banks that are here? Public sector banks, regional rural banks, cooperative banks, private sector banks, foreign banks as well, and microfinance institutions, as well as non-banking financial corporations or the companies. Okay, so through the Mudra Yojana, I can avail the credit or loan from which of the banks? Should it be the only public sector banks? No. Along with public sector banks, there are the regional rural banks as well. There are the cooperative banks as well, and yes, the private sector banks as well, including the international banks, that is the foreign banks. Or apart from that, yes, the NBFCs, that is non-banking financial corporations, they are also there into the picture. Right? So, what is the logic? Mudra Yojana, launched in 2015, objective to fund the unfunded, that is to avail the credit or the loan facility from which type of banks? Public sector, yes. Private sector, yes. Regional rural banks, yes. Non-banking financial corporations, yes. International banks or the foreign banks active inside the Indian territory, yes. Okay, we can avail the loans, right? Micro, small and medium enterprises. So, what are the features here? Loan amount up to rupees 10 lakh for non-farm income generating activities in sectors such as manufacturing, processing, trading and services. Guys, make it clear that Mudra Yojana, it is especially for non-agricultural or the non-farm activities. It is not for the agricultural or the farm activities. Okay, it is specifically only and only for the non-farm related activities. Okay, so eligibility, any Indian citizen with a viable business plan for a non-farm sector, okay, can apply. Right? Remember, any Indian, right? Any Indian, but yes, it should be a loan or a credit facility for the non-farm or the non-agricultural activity only. And there are categories, okay? There are three categories: Shishu, Kishore and Tarun. Right? So when you talk about the Shishu, so loans up to rupees 50,000, okay, for micro enterprises. We talk about Kishore, it is from 50,000 to 5 lakhs for the businesses in the growth phase. And Tarun, okay, it is 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs for the businesses looking to expand. So Shishu, as in it is the Hindi word that is referring towards a small infant, okay, an infant. So loan up to rupees 50,000 rupees. Okay, then Kishore, it is mentioning towards a person who is, into the teenage or something like that. Okay, so loans up to rupees 50,000 to rupees 5 lakhs. Okay, 50,000 to 5 lakhs. Then next we have got Tarun, that is loans from rupees 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. Okay, when the business is into its expansion. Okay, so next one, here we go. US-Iran set to start direct high-level talks over nuclear issue, says Trump. So let's talk about the whole story. Iran, the adversary to America, the officially designated adversary to America. In 2016, in fact, a legislation was passed by the United States that is countering America's adversaries through Sanctions Act. And according to the legislation, CAATSA, okay, actually designates three countries, that is North Korea, Russia and Iran, as its adversaries, and also says that whosoever nation will have any sort of strategic deals or agreements or pacts or treaties with any of these three nations will be directly considered as an adversary to America. So Iran is one of the adversary, but before Donald Trump came to power in 2016, till the time Barack Obama was the president of America, one of the finest presidents, no doubt in that, he initiated a deal with Iran and inducting the International Atomic Energy Agency along with the other UNSC permanent members plus Germany to have Iran nuclear deal that is popularly termed as Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, right? This Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, along with US, UK, Russia, China, France, that is P5, that is Permanent 5 of the United Nations Security Council, UNSC in short, +1, that is the +1 being as Germany. They signed a deal with Iran, okay, that is termed as Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or, in slang, it is also that is Iran nuclear deal. In the deal, Iran promised to limit its nuclear enrichment program, and apart from that, allowing the inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency to inspect all of the Iran's nuclear sites. Iran's nuclear enrichment sites, simply speaking, Iran's nuclear reactors, right? But yes, in 2018, the senile personality, what we can call Donald J. Trump, withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and it was only P5 out of P5, P4 +1, that is Germany. But Donald Trump, when he went out of the throne and the presidentship was taken by Joe Biden, he came back to the deal. And now this time, it's Donald Trump again, back to the throne of the president of the US. Now let's see, is he going to withdraw? Is he going to withdraw again? Or are there some new things that we will be watching with regard to the Iran nuclear deal or the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action? So this time a meeting is to be held, okay? And here, Donald Trump has shown some affirmative actions that yes, we are trying to implement, or we are trying to implement the concept of peace or something like that throughout the Central Asian and the Middle Eastern countries, and Iran should be the first one such of them. So the meeting is to be held in the state of, or the country of Israel, and let's see what happens next. Okay. So we have got the last or the next news for the day, that is Soyuz spacecraft heads to the International Space Station carrying 2 Russians and 1 American astronaut. So guys, make it clear first of all, Soyuz, what is this? It is a spacecraft. Okay, let's see, go ahead with the whole news. The Soyuz spacecraft carrying an American and 2 Russians on Tuesday launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. So the interesting feature about this particular launch station, okay, this is the name, please name the please make it clear, Baikonur Cosmodrome, where in Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan, which was erstwhile part of the USSR, okay, that is basically the Soviet Union till its collapse in 1989, okay. After that, Kazakhstan became a separate nation, not part of the Union, okay. But the point, the location that is known as Baikonur Cosmodrome is taken on lease by Russia. Make it very clear. Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, it is a launch station as well. Under control of whom? Under control of Russia Roscosmos. Okay, first thing. Second thing, now Russia has taken it on lease, and Russia is paying almost $115 million a year to Kazakhstan, right? So Moscow, that is the capital city, okay, pays what? Almaty, that is the capital city of Kazakhstan, $115 million a year and has a contract until 2050. So the region of this particular location, that is Baikonur, is very fine. Environmentally, ecologically, geographically, it's fine for the missiles or for the rockets to launch and reach towards the International Space Station as one of the nearest focal points they are. Okay. So remember, Kazakhstan was once upon a time into the USSR or the Union of the Soviet, okay, but after its disintegration, 1989 to 90 time period, okay, Kazakhstan remaining an independent nation even till today, okay, but yes, Baikonur Cosmodrome taken up by the Russian Space Agency, in short Roscosmos, okay, but yes, it's over lease till the year 2050, 2050, and yes, the next big thing, that is what? $115 million a year. Who is paying? Russia, that is Moscow, is paying to Kazakhstan, that is Almaty. Okay, so these are all the facts that we need to understand. Next comes into the picture. UN chief says Gaza has been transformed into a killing field. You know, uh, for example, a rich industrialist, rich guy who has got all the money, who has got all the resources, all, the comforts, the elements of comforts, okay, the luxury, all the elements of luxury. When that rich guy starts saying, oh, I'm too poor, I do not have, uh, 5 fighter jets, I have 5 private jets, I have only 3, means, I just can afford only 10 Rolls Royce, I can't afford 20. I do not have a private railway station for myself. How poor I am, right? Does this sound logical? This sounds pathetic. Like, kya bol raha hai bhai? What is this nonsense? In the very same sense, United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres, Chief of United Nations, saying what? गाजा में ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड नहीं पहुंचने का. हाँ, in Gaza, humanitarian aid is not supplied. Are, whose responsibility it is? Your responsibility. Why the hell are you milling? Why are you crying, Mr. Anthony? It's your duty, right? If you can watch that, yes, in the people living in Gaza, the Gaza Strip, okay, they are not getting the adequate medical or the food or the civic supplies, then why are you stopping here and, giving the statement to media? You yourself go, it's your duty. Are you expecting Thanos to come from the other planet or Jadoo from the other planet, okay, and they will provide humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza? It's your responsibility. Why are you crying? Send your forces there. Why are you not able to fight Israel yet? Why are you not able to fight Russia yet? Huh? What's the big thing stopping you? This statement from Antonio Guterres, that is the so-called chief of the United Nations, represent that how weak this organization has become, or the puppet organization it is in the hands of America, China, or Russia, maybe, or maybe another countries. Right? You are chief, man, chief. You are UN chief. And you are saying, it has become the killing field. Then go and say, where are your United Nations so-called peacekeeping forces? Why aren't they active? And whose responsibility it is? It's your responsibility, right? Send your forces, fight against Israel, condemn America, make America stand into the witness box in front of the International Court of Justice, and just ask them, prosecute them, start the trial. Why not? You have, declared Vladimir Putin as the international war criminal. What about America? Yep. What about the Hamas organization of Palestine, or what even the whole of the Israel? Why the innocent people, they are being killed? Right? Innocent people in Palestine, innocent people in Israel, innocent people in Gaza, innocent people in Ukraine, Russia, Bangladesh, everywhere. Where are you? Are you here to provide such type of nonsense, illogical statements to the media? That Gaza has become a killing field? Okay, then go and stop. Here, Mr. Antonio Guterres is mentioning the Geneva Conventions, right? Signed in the year 1949. 77 years earlier, a convention was signed and it is being violated each and every day. And you are saying since 1 month, this is what the statement has come from Antonio Guterres, that since 1 month and above, Geneva Convention has been violated every day in Gaza. Why? Because of the unavailability of the civic supplies, including the medicinal supplies. And then who is to be made responsible? Whosoever is responsible, whose act should be here to redress the issue? It should be your act. Condemn the countries, compel them to perform their act, implement Geneva Convention, right? So here it is. He has slammed Israel's proposed plan to limit and down to the last caloric, okay, and grain of flour, right? Why? What's the point there? Let me be clear, we will not participate in any arrangement that does not fully respect the humanitarian principles, humanity, impartiality, independence, and neutrality, Mr. Guterres has stated. You're not going to participate? You are UN. You are not going to participate, what do you mean? Right? You will have to eliminate any such anti-human, inhuman activities. No comments further, right? Means you show that yes, you're not a global organization, you are a puppet organization. And so you are puppet, Mr. Antonio Guterres, right? You are UN chief and crying over the Gaza, right? Go and take action. So talking about Geneva Conventions, okay, signed August 12, 1949 for the protection of the war victims, right? When? August 12, 1949. So here we have the Geneva Convention and their additional protocols. They are the international treaties. For what? For the most important rules that should be followed when it is the war zone or the conflict ridden zone. Okay, so literally they protect the people who do not part in the fighting, that is basically the civilians. Okay, they protect what? The civilians, the medic supplies, the aid workers, and those who can no longer fight. Like, for example, the wounded, the sick, and the shipwrecked troops or the prisoners of war. So, for them, we have got the Geneva Convention signed August 12, 1949. Okay, so the first Geneva Convention, it protects the wounded and sick soldiers on land during war. The second protects wounded, sick, and shipwrecked military personnel at sea during war. The third applies to prisoners, prisoners of war. And fourth, to the protection of the civilians, including the occupied territory. And Gaza, don't know, is it an occupied territory or yet? As no particular country has given a clear-cut statement over the issue of Gaza. Okay. So here we have the Geneva Convention, signed 1949, and the four distinct protocols. The first one for the wounded and the sick. Second one for the wounded and the sick in the sea. Okay, that is shipwrecked. The third one for the protection of the prisoners of war. And fourth one for the people. Okay, for the civilians, including in the occupied territories. Right. So this brings us to the next thing here, the next segment of the class, that is the MCQs. Right. What are the questions today for us? So the first one, consider the following statements. Statement 1. The governor has discretionary power to reserve any bill for the president's consideration, even if it has been passed unanimously by the state legislature. Second, the constitution provides a time limit within which the governor must act under Article 200. So guys, come on, can you give the answers please? Anyone? No one here to answer? Go on, go on. One only, two only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 and 2. So, let's have the answer. A, 1 only. So far, okay, statement 2 is incorrect, as the governor's pocket veto, okay, does not provide any type of time limit. Okay, so there is no time limit prescribed in the constitution for the governor to act on a bill. And this has led to a criticism and debate over the pocket veto, right? So just immediately Supreme Court has mandated it, and it is yet to be written into the rule books. Okay. So yes, the statement 1 is correct, that the governor can reserve a bill for the president's consideration even if passed unanimously. Okay, this is part of the governor's discretionary powers under Article 200. Second, which of the following is not one of the 4 Geneva Conventions of 1949? Not. Okay, so Convention for the Amelioration of the Condition of the Wounded and Sick Armed Forces in the Field. B, Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property in the Event of Armed Conflict. Or C, Convention relative to the treatment of prisoners of war. Or D, Convention relative to the protection of the civilian persons in the time of war. So yes, with regard to the 4, we have seen that there was no particular mention of the cultural property. Okay, so what will be the correct answer? Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property in the Event of War, that is option B, right? Okay, so this is what is Hague Convention of 1954. Okay, so remember guys, option B, that is prevention of the any type of destruction towards the cultural property, is part of the Hague Convention of 1954 and not the Geneva Convention. Okay, next. Which of the following institutions is primarily responsible for refinancing loans under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana? See, as an individual, we can take loans from public sector, private sector, regional rural banks, international banks or the foreign banks or the non-banking financial corporations or the micro small financing corporations as well. But who are the financiers of these institutions? From where does the money come from the to these particular institutions? Okay, so will it be the NABARD, SIDBI, RBI, or the National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited? Okay, so obviously we know it very well that the Mudra Yojana is specifically for the non-farm or the non-agricultural activities. So obviously NABARD, that is National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, could never be here into the list. Okay, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, doesn't provide loans or any type of refinancing for the sake of any schemes. Okay, so the options left, it is SIDBI and National Credit Guarantee Trustee. Okay, so here the correct answer is SIDBI. Okay, that is option B. That is what? Small Industries Development Bank of India. Okay, is the refinancer to all of those banks, those who are eligible to provide finance or the loan for the sake of Mudra Yojana. Right? Which of the following was a major obligation for Iran under the 2015 Iran nuclear deal? Major obligation. So what is that? Permanently dismantle all nuclear facilities, reduce its uranium enrichment level to not more than 20%, allow IAEA inspectors access to all declared nuclear sites, and withdraw from the non-proliferation treaty. Okay, so A, B, C, and D. What is a major obligation? Okay, so here we have the answer, that is C, allow IAEA inspectors to access to all declared nuclear sites. Okay, so under the Iran nuclear deal or the joint comprehensive plan of action, okay, the limit of the uranium enrichment is 3.7%. Yes, reduce the stockpile of the enriched uranium, okay, and cut centrifuge numbers as well. And apart from that, the biggest one, to allow the IAEA inspectors to be, okay, going ahead and inspecting all of the nuclear facilities of Iran. Okay, not talking about dismantling it, neither talking about any type of 20% enrichment, okay, capping. It is 3.7% enrichment capping. Okay, and apart from that, yes, provide with all of the crucial information to the IAEA inspectors. Okay, so guys, this is all with regard to today's MCQs as well as the questions or the topics from the Hindu. Okay, date being 9th of March. So guys, please subscribe to our StudyIQ English channel. It has been made just to serve you guys for the purpose of providing you the very extra quality as well as quantity of content that is required to crack the UPSC CSE, that is Civil Services Examination. And yes, apart from that, if you wish to connect with me through any social media handles, so here we have over Instagram, it is named as Praveen Mishra _2107, and with Telegram, it will be the channel that is study_with_Praveen. Okay, so just go on the search bar, okay, over Telegram or Instagram, wherever, okay, and you can search these two usernames and connect with me and let me know all your doubts related to your academics. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for watching, and please do hit the like button as well in case you like the session. And yes, what's your opinion? Please do let me know into the comment box as well. Right, everyone. So thank you so much for watching. See you soon in the very next session. Good day. Take care. Study well. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.